All right, guys, welcome to another Scaling Brokerage podcast. We're super excited to have Rafay here today, and he's going to be sharing his success growing a team, former brokerage owner as well. So just want to give a quick welcome. How you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me, Tristan. Very, very excited and looking forward to chatting with you here.
Awesome. Yeah, for everyone listening, first and foremost, just tell us a little bit more about your journey. Your former brokerage owner to now a very large team leader. And made you make the transition and everything.
I'll take a few steps back here and start from the beginning. So I'm an immigrant. I moved to U.S. in '05 when I was 14 or something along that, around that. I think 14 and a half. It was February 2005, just a year before the whole kind of market taking off, and then a few years before the crash. Went to DePaul University. I finished my undergrad. While I was in undergrad school for college, I was in banking. So I thought financial industry was going to be my sort of career of choosing. Went for business administration and minored in finance. And, quickly became one of the top bankers, not investment banker, but bankers for the entire company in the United States. And that was around 2013, and just felt like the whole career wasn't gratifying. The whole climbing corporate ladder wasn't gratifying. The whole entrepreneurial spirit was missing. And that's when I just started, kind of exploring and searching for different options. And I remember one night I came back home late, sometime in October, and just exhausted, and threw my bag and my jacket on the couch and turned on TV, and then Bravo TV came on, and I noticed that $1 Million Listing season 1, episode 1 or episode 2, LA was up, and I saw this 18-year-old kid, Josh Flagg, who finished high school and got into real estate, going and showing these properties and making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 commission checks per deal. And there I was looking, and I was just, couldn't fathom it, because I'm like, wow, like here's my annual salary. Like I'm busting my back, working every day, 9 hours, 10 hours a day, travel, commute, everything all included. And here's this kid just putting a couple of deals together, putting on fancy, nice suits, and then making these deals happen. So naturally, I kind of gravitated towards that quickly, and got my license December of 2013, and I got sponsored by Coldwell Banker. I held my license there in the Winnetka office in 2014. So that's when I started my journey. I was Rookie of the Year. I sold about just under $10 million my first year. Didn't matter where I was driving. Didn't matter where the deal was. I would take a $1,300 rental at Loyola, or get a foreclosure $27,000 condo in Schaumburg. I say 27,000, Tristan, because back then in 2014, if you remember, we're coming from the market crash, so there were still plenty of deals out there, or drive to Douglas and whatnot. So anywhere and everywhere for a deal. I remember I was putting in probably like 70, 80 hours a week, 7 days a week I was working, and no days off for the first couple of years. There was no balance. And I wanted it that way because I wanted to build a business. I had a very strict NDA with the bank, and I had no database. I had no sphere of influence. I'm an immigrant. I mentioned that. So for me, it was really building a database quickly from cold calling. So I turned to Yellow Pages and, any opportunity I could find to build a database and add to my sphere of influence, or CRM, I should say. I started doing that. Second year, did about $15 million. And in 2015, I opened up my first brokerage, partnered up with a broker off record, because in Illinois, you needed 2 years of experience to actually open a brokerage of your own. And I was only a year and a half in it. So I partnered up, made some bad choices with partners. 2017, opened up a second brokerage in West Loop by the name of Remax Next. And the idea was to bridge the gap from city to suburban clients, right? Urban suburban bridge. Because there are people that are selling in condo, moving to the suburbs, and vice versa. So that was kind of the idea. But shortly after, just started noticing, writing on the wall, that the future of real estate was not in brokerage model. It would have been back in 1990s, early 2000. But the way market is progressing, the future of real estate was putting together scalable mega teams. and quickly realized that. So 2019, I sold my ownership and shares to my partner and moved to Compass, which at that time was newly introduced in Illinois. And my co-founder Jana Pierce, who's been with me since day one, we put the whole team together, the whole mega team concept. First year was her and I and a couple of part-timers. We did about $35 million. Second year it was her and I and about 7 or 8 people. We did about $75 million, $115 million, and then kind of stayed at that 100 million mark. Since 2019 through 2024 at Compass, we sold about $500 million worth of real estate, and then finally switched over to real after realizing that the future of real estate again is scaling mega teams, leveraging partnerships, and not just being hyper local and be bound by brick and mortar, but actually operate on a platform and expand, because we just started noticing that all the money and profit and all the juice was being left behind, because someone's got to pay for the brick and mortar, someone's got to pay for the human capital. And very, very quickly, Tristan, we realized the clients were not working with us because of brokerage A or brokerage B or their branding. They were working with us because of us. They wanted to hire us for our specialty in the market, or our expertise in the market, or our personality connecting with them, or whatever the case was, right? So we did a survey, 50 clients, top clients. We asked them, hey, several series of questions. Hey, did you know which brokerage we're part of? Did you work with us because of brokerage influence? Do you care which brokerage we go to? And we were just shocked to see the numbers, how they stacked negatively against all the big box names. And at that point, we decided to make a switch, and it's been one of the best decisions we've made. And the team is thriving and growing. This year, we're going to probably close. And again, this was a transition year, and it's a very difficult phase to go through transition, especially with about 40 people, because collectively with staff and team members, just under 40 people. But now that we have transition behind us, we're still going to close pending roughly a little over $100 million. But next year, we're gearing for a $250 million number in 2025, and we're very, very excited about it.
That's incredible. I tell you, I hear a lot of stories, just everything that you've accomplished since getting in. You said, was it 2014, 2015?
2014 was my first year. Yeah, it was Rookie of the Year at Coldwell Banker. When I opened Remax, I won pretty much every award that existed there. Even at Compass, Legend Society, all of that. Consistently ranked one of the top 2 or top 3 in our branch, which was the headquarter in Lincoln Park, and across Chicagoland as well. We're part of the top 10 teams for Compass in Illinois. And today we run the largest team, volume, size, and unit for real in Midwest. And our vision, Tristan, is to become the first $1 billion real estate team by 2028. So $1 billion a year sales by 2028 across 3 markets: Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan. So that's kind of our plan to scale and scale very quickly.
I really like the model you're running too, because you're still running that team too. So it sounds like so are you mentoring them personally? Do you have splits? I mean, what does that look like for the team? There's a lot of people, they're either high performing teams, a lot of brokerage owners. So what does your model look like?
Krishna, I think the mistakes a lot of broker owners make is they're just detached from the sales world completely. And that's one thing that I just, kind of very early on realized and committed to, that if I build a team, I'm going to be leading from the front. So any year you pick, I'm always the top sales agent within our group. And my goal is to kind of cover 1/3 of the production of the team, and then have the team make up for the 2/3 of the production. And what that does is 2 things. It gives me the credibility to be able to coach and train agents, because obviously I'm going through that with them. The camaraderie part of it, I'm not sitting on a high horse asking them to go build a pyramid. I'm leading from the front. I'm carrying the weight with on my shoulders along with them. So it's not the concept of not giving a hand out, but hand up. So just kind of lifting them all up. And even when it comes to accountability. I mean, I'm putting the numbers on the board. I'm equally as responsible for being held accountable as I'm trying to hold the next person accountable. So we have series of trainings and accountability sessions every Monday. We do something called Money Monday. We get together at the office and we prospect collectively. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we do live role play calls from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. On Zoom call, where one person plays a seller, the other one plays a realtor, and then we live role play a scenario of FISBO cancel expired, and then the roles get reversed, and then we critique them. My sort of co-host in that training session is Ed Henderson, who's one of the partners at the firm. And Wednesdays we do something called Winning Wednesday. So again, everyone shows up under one roof, and there's crazy energy when you've got 15, 20 people making calls. There's a whiteboard, you're putting numbers on the board, you're ringing the bell every single time you land an appointment. It's crazy energy. And then Friday, we do something called Friday Fuel, which is in the morning, we're just following up with our SOI and, kind of more of a high touch and, kind of past client touch sort of system. So every day of the week, you have access to some sort of training and people are plugging in pretty regularly.
So is that in person, or I'm assuming since you're expanding, is it more like via Zoom where you guys are?
Yeah, great question. So every Wednesday and every Monday, we've got in-person sessions at the office. So we've got a 9,000 square foot facility here in Evanston, Illinois. It's a team-owned facility, so we control it and we operate out of here. And the Thursday and Tuesday role play sessions are on Zoom call. So they're Zoom.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I'm just like your story and everything. My business partner from Monday Brokerage, Alan, he came from the Soviet Union. He actually, so he had no sphere too. It's amazing to hear your story. It just connects so much. I mean, he got into real estate in 2015, and then he did about 70 million, and then he has built a team to 15 agents. But then he went on to start a real estate brokerage. So that's why we have this podcast too. We help other brokerage owners, but it's kind of the same angle as you are as an agent, because we want to help brokerage owners, but Alan better be leading the front of it and actually running a brokerage successfully. He's been able to hire like 400 agents the past 4 years. So
wow.
He's been able to grow it pretty rapidly, but I think it's so impressive. Because I've always heard Alan's story, and it's just amazing to hear, someone else's story like yours, where someone who had no sphere of influence, they came in. I remember asking him, I'm like, so how did you grow your business? He's like, I called expires and I held open houses every day. That's all he did.
I mean, that's pretty much similar to my story as well. When I picked up, when I got my license, again, remember, I had a very strict NDA with the bank. I mean, that is my
that's even more.
Right. And even college, if you talk about college, you're like, hey, college buddies and whatnot, because I went to DePaul University. I'll tell you this. I mean, I took evening classes, really 8 to 5. I had a banking job. And then each day of the week, I had a different class. I had 4 classes in the evenings, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one session a week. So not really the most social crowd, right? These are professionals that are coming in and they're kids and married. And like it's not really the kind of college vibe that you kind of think when you say college. So didn't really have a huge social network there, or sphere of influence that I had built, because we were just in limited touch once a week, and then secondly, it was just evening classes, so we were just plugged in and out. But yeah, man, I mean, 2014, that was the last year where they were throwing those yellow pages. I don't know if you remember. You look a little too young to remember those yellow pages, but yellow pages were these business owners and local homeowners' names and numbers and addresses. They actually had these books by territory where they would actually leave those books in front of homeowners and whatnot, so they can kind of look at all the businesses available and homeowners, kind of the old school phone booth and the book next to it. So that was the last year they were putting those books out, and I grabbed one for North Shore and I just started dialing through that. I mean, I just cracked open like halfway in the mail. I'm like, all right, this is game. I'm gonna like flip it open, and whatever page it lands on, that's the number I'm gonna start dialing. I'm gonna go all in. And people get hung up on scripts and what to say and what not to say, and what's a magic script and what's golden words and whatnot. But really, my script was pretty simple, man. It was, hey, my name is Rafay. I just got my real estate license. I'm a local real estate agent. Do you know anyone looking to buy or sell? Like that is it. As simple. Like, and again, people hung up and F this and F you, like, well, whatever, like curse me. But like, you know what, 7, 8, 9 down, someone was like, you know what? I'm glad you called because I'm interviewing people. So why don't you come check out my listing and give me your proposal? And that just kind of made me realize. And then I kept going, right? People like give up after one, or someone hangs up. They're like, all right, the phone gets heavier and heavier. For me, it was like every no gets me closer to a yes. So I turned it into a game. I'm like, catch the no, right? The more no's I get, the closer I get to yes. So every 23 no's, I realized my math was every 23 no's would get me closer to a yes. The 24th or 25th by default would be a yes.
Yeah.
And if I got 4 yeses in a day, that meant I got at least one listing, live listing. I got a listing. So I turned it into a math formula and a game. And every morning I'd wake up with, white post-it note like this, and I would just write down like 20, I'd like mark 25 and most likely the 25th or whatever, like law of averages. But real estate is a context sport. People got to understand that statistically, there are a lot more people buying or selling real estate that you do not know than you do know. So very quickly, you need to add people to your database. And once you build a database and you nurture that database, and it's about 1,000 or 1,500 people, then you're set. You just kind of work that database organically. And, if you're working the database and you have a few touches a year, they're going to perform. They're going to refer, they're going to operate, they're going to list and sell, they're going to buy investment properties. So you don't have to be a cold caller for the rest of your life, but initially everyone needs to hear this. Initially you have to be, relentless. You have to know how to handle that. You have to develop a thick skin, and you have to deal with rejection. That's why there's 87% failure rate in real estate, because people just aren't comfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And it's like you said, it's a contact sport. And, when you know those numbers, everything. I mean, I even feel like we when we talk to brokerage owners and team leaders, regardless if it's recruiting, if it's prospecting for buyers and sellers, it's all contacts. Like, you have to know your numbers, you have to know your metrics, you got to have those systems in place. But speaking of like the recruiting side of things, as a team leader, and recruiting, a lot of people come to us, they listen to this podcast for recruiting advice. What are some of the biggest challenges you face personally recruiting? And how did you continue to scale a team at such a large scale and continue?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I'll tell you this, we're not scaling fast enough. We're very specific with who we bring on board. I mean, I get probably like 10, 15 emails every month or so, people wanting to sit down and grab coffee and wanting to join the team. But at this point, we just realized that we're not looking for brand new agents. We're just looking for people that have some experience. And we do have a boot camp for brand new agents, but that's just a different business altogether. For the team, we're very specific with our minimum KPIs and minimum expectations, right? You have to have one closed deal or pending deal a month, gauged on quarterly basis, to stay on the team. So if you don't have minimum 12 deals a year, we're just gonna either put you on a correction plan, or we're gonna just put you in the network. And that's the beauty of Real, is we don't have to part ways. It just might not be a right time to be on a team, right? People have commitments, people have life situations going on, and not everyone can commit to being on a high performing team. And that's where we can kind of put them in the network, give them all the resources and support, and ask them, hey, when it's time, you can come back and then join us. So that's been really instrumental. But to answer your question, I think when you're doing and performing at the level we perform, and you're closing enough volume, you have enough team members that are boots on the ground, that are just meeting other agents at all times. So oftentimes it's just organic connections. People saying, hey, listen, I'm part of this team. And, we thank God, knock on wood, we have relatively good reputation in the market. And when a team member goes out there and says, hey, I'm part of Qamar Group, oftentimes the other broker is like, oh yeah, I've heard of you guys. I've seen your social media. I've seen you guys do good work and everything. And then naturally the next dialogue is like, hey, what are you guys doing that's working well? Right. And then that's just an entry dialogue for us. And then I kind of set up a meeting and share with them kind of what I'm sharing with you. And if it escalates into something else, then we kind of pitch what Real offers and what Qamar Group offers. And if it's a good fit, we ask them to keep it in the back pocket.
That's great. That's great. So you've really you've created that culture where the agents are basically, sharing the opportunities they've had under your team.
Yeah.
Go
And they
through.
get incentivized. They get revenue share. The way platform is built is anyone who's connecting and bringing other people on board, they're getting incentivized for that in perpetuity. So it's another stream of income. If someone has a couple of bad months, they have other alternatives and other streams of incomes that are holding them afloat. So that was another really important decision for us when we were making and selecting a brokerage. We wanted to have as many opportunities to have multiple streams of income, and this made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And so how many agents do you currently have right now, like on your team? I know there's some qualification process, but
Yeah,
like how
roughly about 35 agents on the team, and then we
many?
have 4 staff. So the
Yeah.
total unit for Qamar Group is just under 40 people.
Wow. That's great. That's
Yeah.
incredible. So is that the only way that you're attracting agents right now, or do you have any other strategies that you would recommend?
Yeah, and again, we're not attracting everyone. We're not looking to have everyone join the group. Again, we're building the network as well. In our network, within our organization at Real, Qamar Group is about 40 people, but the network itself is just under 100 people. And I've got some really, really incredible large teams that are part of our network that I just simply had a dialogue about moving to Real. And they're like, why are you moving? And I told them the reasons why we made a decision. It was a business decision. It was an economics and a straight up finance decision, nothing emotional. And when I shared the numbers, a lot of brokers are opening their eyes and they're like, holy crap, we're leaving way too much money on the table. When they say split, it's not split only. There's a listing fees, oftentimes co-op fees they're taking. There's a resource fees, desk fees, E&O insurance fee. There's several countless fees. And at the end of the day, when you take a step back, you're realizing that, wow, I'm getting kind of chewed out here. All the juice is being kind of taken off the top. How do I really grow? How do I reinvest in my business? And that's a decision that a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs are making at a high level now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. And so what would you say is like, like where do you see your team heading? The industry's constantly evolving. Like you said, you're always adapting to the changes. Where do you see the future of your team? And like how do you basically stay ahead of the curve of all of these changes that are
you have to kind of pick up on trends and mastermind with top producers. I'm obviously masterminding with people that are doing double the volume I'm doing, and they are where I want to go. Part of the reason, again, for Real is if I look at average top team leader, majority of them are in this network. I mean, most of my mentors are billion-dollar team operators. So I'm rubbing shoulders and sitting down and grabbing lunch with them. So to answer your question, you have to pick up on trends and understand, see what other people are noticing, not just in your market, but nationally. I do think that 30 to 40% of real estate agents will be out of business in next 24 months. That's my prediction. It could be right, could be completely wrong. If it's right, you can pitch this and promote it. If it's wrong, you can edit this scene out and never let anyone else hear it. But I think I think about 30 to 40% real estate agents will be out of business in next 24 months. I give it 2 years. Just like 40% of service industry is going to be decimated in the next 5 years, right? Bank tellers, Uber drivers, McDonald's workers, librarians. I mean, these are all going to be automated. We're already seeing that in East Coast or West Coast. You go, there's self-driving cars right now. Why would Tesla pay or Uber pay someone 70% of their income when they can have self-driving autonomous cars driving 24/7 with no human error, with no need for rest, with no assault charges and things like that, and no fatigue? And it's crazy. And they get to keep every single ounce and penny of that. So anyway, so I that's what I see. First of all, I think limiting of agents, because again, really there's a 95% rule, right? 5% of real estate agents control 95% of the transaction anyway. And then it's the 95% agents that are fighting over the 5% business. So as there's commission compressions, and as the big brick and mortar and the big box brokerages start getting squeezed from commission compression, what they're going to have to naturally do is 2 things: lower their splits, increase their fees. And then the delta of profitability for the brokers in the middle is going to get squeezed thinner and thinner and thinner, to the point where it's not going to make sense for a lot of agents to be even in real estate. right? So they're going to start
Yeah.
looking for second jobs and whatnot. And all the big operators, they're going to realize, and they're going to operate out of independence or cloud-based softwares, cloud-based models like we are. So I really think that the future of real estate is in mega teams, kind of how I started this full circle, right?
Yeah.
That's the future of real estate. I think we got about a decade and a half left max in this business for the most part, before things are going to become very, very difficult for agents, just like it is for travel agents. You want to fly to Boston or New York, you're not calling a travel agent, you're going on Google and you're booking your flight. But if you have to go from Dubai to Turkey to Zimbabwe to New Guinea and come back to Chicago and you're going on a world tour, then you're going to call a travel agent. So just like that, complex deals, luxury deals for affluent clients, they're going to require real estate agents and the expertise, local experts. But for the most part, the median transaction for an average buyer, it'll be easy enough to just pull the trigger and go direct to consumer and operate on a platform somewhere. I don't know what it looks like, but I'll tell you this, that a decade and a half is a long time for AI to get extremely sophisticated, to start figuring out what the projections are and what the values are. And, people are going to listen to this podcast and be like, okay, this guy is not delusional. It's happening quicker than. And again, you got to be a realist. You just got to see what's happening. I mean, it's happening on the wall.
Yeah. I mean, me alone, like when I'm walking around, there's a little shopping center by my place, and I see the Waymos all the time. There's like self-driving cars, and it's happening. It's happening everywhere.
Not only that, but optometrists are under a lot of heat right now, because now they have these AI goggles or whatever. I don't know what the device is called, but you look into it, it analyzes your retina and everything, and it kind of like prescribes you. So, you don't need to go for annual checkups and stuff like that anymore. I mean, that's on the rise. Right? It's pretty crazy what's happening with AI. I mean, you see what ChatGPT is capable of doing. I mean, it's pretty crazy, and we don't even know. 85, like I would say 95 of us don't even know how to properly use it. We just like basic stuff, 5%, like whatever. Right? But like 100%. It's right. It's coding stuff. It's developing websites. It's automating processes. We're not sophisticated enough or don't have the skill set to really understand that. But imagine what that thing can do in 10 years. And it'll pick up the values and it'll generate CMAs for you, and it'll do a lot more accurate stuff than humans ever can.
Yeah, there's I think it's called Alan or something. One of my friends was sharing with me, and they create AI agents that are designed. It's funny because you have to build them out, but once you build them out, they're way smarter than you for copywriting, HTML, landing page, all of that stuff. I mean, like you said, I mean, it's going to be a big disruptor, especially when you said in the next 10 years or so. So I mean, I know you're saying that it's going to kind of push people out. I guess like my next question would be like, where do you see your team in the next, 3 to 5 years then?
Yeah, I think, again, if you're a solo entrepreneur, it's going to become more and more difficult because you have to leverage resources. You have to leverage each other's skill set. That's why I think teams and mega teams will stick around. It's difficult to break that, right? You have a little bit more exposure. You have a little bit more clientele. You have a little bit more resource to kind of stay in the game a little longer. For us, it's, like I said, $1 billion a year sales volume by 2028. In 10 years, we're targeting $5 billion sales across 20 different markets.
That's incredible.
So those markets, again, starting Midwest heavy, but we would love to have presence in Vegas and in Florida and California and Colorado, Utah, Washington State and so forth. So we kind of want to expand. And again, another reason for moving to Real is it operates in all 50 states. And in 4 provinces in Canada today. So I don't have to go find a different brokerage. I don't have to go get different branding. I don't have to sign different ICAs. That was a big issue with our previous former company. They won't even allow us to scale properly. They were holding us back. And we had to sign different ICA agreements. We had to have different split scales. This is 100% what I'm doing here. I can replicate it. I can scale it. I can pull it back. It's the most lean opportunity that exists out there right now, Tristan. This is not my word against other people's. I actually hired financial advisors and bookkeepers and shared all the models and numbers and told them to run projections on our numbers. And by far, they told us real is leaps and bounds ahead, any which way you slice and dice it. There are 9 streams of income, believe it or not, on top of broker commission.
That's wonderful. And so what would your advice be for like a brand new team leader, like wanting to grow, wanting to hit these revenue numbers, finding these types of agents? What's your advice for them?
I would say, and this is a mistake I made because ego got a little big, but I would say find the best team, or at least go and interview top 10 teams. Like, try to not do this by yourself. You can if you want to, but you're, like myself, are going to make every single mistake in the book. And if you can learn from other people's mistake, your learning curve gets a lot more shorter. Also, initially, if you're a solo agent, you're going to have to pay for your CRM. You're going to have to pay for your marketing, your brochures, your photography, this, that, your technology. It all adds up very, very aggressively. So if you can leverage, once again, going back to the leverage word, if you can leverage each other, their skill set, the resources, and you can kind of move forward, someone that you connect with on a vision, same vision, and mentally, and you're aligned with their goals and where they're headed, whatever the team is. Interview 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 teams, as many. Understand what every team offers, and then stick to one, and then just put your blinders on, and then just go all in. Right? Too many people bounce around. Just like every month they're looking for another team, new shiny object syndrome. Avoid that, because that really sets you back. So my advice to brand new agents: A, become a student of the business, treat it like a degree, a 4-year degree. Learn every single thing about every single thing in real estate, every market. Read every book you can on real estate. Starting with Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Keller's book. And then just, again, doesn't matter. Don't follow the money. Follow the learning. Earning will come later on. So just go and see what appraisals are. How does it work? How to host an inspection, like how to host an open house, how to like deliver a buyer tour, how to deliver a listing presentation, buyer presentation, like a whole 9 yards. How to hunt, most importantly, not to just rely on lead sources and team leaders, but learn how to hunt, learn how to develop skill set. That's what we do every Wednesday, every Monday, every Tuesday, every Thursday, right? We're teaching people how to hunt, so that if lead flow gets cut, then they are skilled enough to go and hunt every single time they want to. So that's very important.
Yeah. Wonderful. And then what if they're trying to go to the next level? Like I said, a lot of team leaders and broker owners will be listening. Like, what is your advice for them to start to scale and have a powerhouse team under them, like kind of like what you've explained that you've built?
Yeah, I mean, again, realistically, building a team is not easy, Tristan. It comes with a lot of setbacks and failures. There are a lot of emotions, a lot of sacrifices. So again, understand what the vision is, right? And understand your why. What is your why? What is the vision? Don't just build a team because you want to build a team. Have a purpose behind it. But once you have the purpose and you have a vision, and you're operating and leading from the front, people will follow. You'll find your tribe. And as the tribe gets bigger and bigger, like people will get attracted to the tribe. And that's just what we do. I mean, nothing special, nothing that you haven't heard from other people. Really, we treat people kindly. We try to look out for everyone. We spread the wealth as much as possible. I'll give you an example. I opened up a title company called Fortress Title about a year ago. And every single person who is a junior partner in our firm, which means they've sold at least $5 million worth of real estate under our umbrella. We give them opportunity to kind of partner up on that. So they come in and they actually buy ownership in the title company, and then they get paid on that. So the whole idea, again, is to spread the wealth as much as possible. Because there are multiple people operating under one umbrella, we can keep some expenses lean rather than everyone paying for them individually. And then again, leadership, vision, accountability. That's really what it is on top of that.
Wonderful. Hey, well, this has been extremely valuable. I think you had such a great point. I mean, that's something that Alan does too he has the mortgage, the title, those additional ways to help. I think that's something that is just a huge value add to the agents, especially if they're investing and being part of your team and allowing them to become more of the company, add additional revenue streams. It's great to hear that you have all of this stuff set up. I mean, you've accomplished a lot. So, this conversation has been incredible. I love your story, love everything that you shared with our listeners. Just before we sign off, though, like if anyone's listening, they want to learn more about you, your team. Where should they find you? Should be social media, website, how to contact you, and all of that.
Yeah. Thank you for saying all the kind words, Tristan. It was certainly a pleasure. Google us, Qamar Group. QAMAR group. We come up pretty easily. Our handle on Instagram is Qamar QAMAR_group. My personal handle is Rafay RAFAY_ Qamar QAMAR. Send me a DM if you have any questions. Let's hop on a phone call. I'm happy to pay it forward at this stage of my life. Any mistakes I've made, I always I'm countless meetings selflessly. I'm trying to share that with people and help them out. And our website is www.qamargroup.com. It's a pretty cool website. Check it out. And say hello. And if you have any questions, anything that you resonated with on this episode, we'd love to kind of chat further.
Awesome. Thanks, Rafay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tristan.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you. That was a great podcast. I appreciate you hopping on and sharing all that. Such
man. Cool.
Like I said, I've resonated with a lot of stuff that Alan, I've heard. Alan is very inspiring. So I appreciate.
Thank you. Are you a lender? Are you a realtor? What do you do?
So we just started doing this podcast because I co-own Modern Day Brokerage with Alan Kushmakov, the guy I mentioned.
Yeah.
So we help brokerage owners and team leaders recruit agents. So
okay.
We're very growth focused. And a lot of people were actually asking like, hey, do you guys have a podcast? So now we're rolling this out so that way more people can learn. But we help to keep it short, brokerage owners, team leaders. Our goal is to help them consistently hire 4 to 5 agents a month of what they're looking to attract to their.
What are you guys doing that's working for you to hire them?
We have 3 pillars. It depends on what they're attracting. Job boards is more for the newer agents, obviously, but then we're really big on events, in-person events, and then we have a bunch of different lead magnets that I like to set up for the brokers, downloads, VSLs, trainings. We help them set all of that up through social media.
Got it. And how many people do you have in your brokerage right now?
So Alan, I don't own the brokerage. I'm partners with him. But he has, I think about 140 agents right now.
Very cool.
He's hired 400 in the past 4 years. A lot of, like you said, though, I mean, most of it, I wouldn't even say is a retention problem. It's just agents not renewing their license every year and they're just dropping off.
And you know what? We were kind of almost shopping around and we almost opened up our own independent Qamar, just like Sirhan. Yeah. And, we decided not to do that because, man, it's just it's just difficult to scale because you need so much money to brand everything. But more importantly, I just saw a crazy stat, according to NAR, an average agent at an average brokerage sticks around for 2.4 years.
Yep.
The same average agent at a cloud-based model that has revenue share components sticks around 4.7 years.
Oh, wow. So you have double the LTV right there, right off the bat.
Dude, just because someone's getting $500-600 a month, they're going to think 5 times before leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing, right? I mean, and it's a gamble. We'll see how it goes. So far, it's paying off. But, we kind of want to do the traditional brokerage, but then the whole accounting and figuring out who gets what and this and that, it just didn't make sense. It made sense to pay a brokerage a little bit and then operate on the platform. But yeah, no, super cool, man. Thank you for reaching out. This was fun. Do you guys put this on Spotify or where does it go?
Yeah. So we have a bunch in the queue right now. So you'll see it on YouTube, and then you'll see it on Spotify and Apple. We're gonna start rolling them out pretty rapidly, and then we have a network. We have a Facebook group right now for brokerage owners, about in team leaders, about 1,800 people in it. Modern Day Brokerage, if you look it up. But we're gonna start. We're gonna probably pick up some traction pretty quickly. Just sending all the traffic there. So yeah, I'm excited to get this launched and up and running, and I appreciate you taking the time to share your story. It's truly
Yeah.
inspiring.
My pleasure, man. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Well, hopefully I'll talk to you again. And yeah, thank you so much.
Take care. Talk soon.
Take care.